Coach, I'm here on your right. Can you take us?
Conversation that basically assured you and assured them that you guys could win this game?
That they were positive. They were positive and understood that, the series could have been 3-2 our way easily, and so just staying the course. They're a really good team. They have 5 starters, 4 of the starters returning, been there for like 4 or 5 years. They won a championship, and they know how to play. And so, coming out at, game 5 at their place, they were really aggressive. I thought Joker really led the charge with Jamal Murray, stepped up and having 43. But I thought early on Joker was aggressive. Then that opened everything up for Jamal Murray. And so we just got to stay the course. Game 7 is going to be tough, but we're ready for the challenge.
Ty, this is kind of a 2-part question. Is there a reason why you didn't start Batum, or like you kind of wanted to save that for the second half? It was part 1, and then part 2 is when you go to that small lineup, what do you have to do defensively to keep Jamal in check, right? Or to keep their, if you take defense, if you trade defense for offense, you obviously have to still play some defense out there.
Because I wanted to get to the small lineup against their second unit with, like I said, with shooting. We had Norm, Bogey, Nico, Kawhi, and James. DJ was in there for a stretch, but then we brought Norm in. And I thought we was able to push the pace. I thought we was able to get open shots, get to the paint, kind of spread them out a little bit so they couldn't just load up and try to take away driving lanes. And so that was the reason. But then, in the second half, like I said, just going to that and seeing how good it was, just to kind of space the floor, was really huge for us. And so just, I wanted to get to that small lineup against their second unit in that second quarter. That was the main reason why.
Ty, that decision to go to Nico to start the second half, is that something that you guys had pre-planned and discussed going in, or is this at halftime you're like, this is the change that needs to be made? I can't even talk. Be made. My brain is overloaded, man. It's a long night.
Yeah, I was just going over, the last 24 hours of just different rotations to try to exploit what they were doing, and so I thought KD would get us out to a great, defensive start to start the game, and then I can get to that small lineup that I wanted to get to against DeAndre Jordan on the floor and give us spacing, and it worked, and so in the second half, I thought having the space in the way James and Kawhi were able to attack, I thought really opened up the floor. And so we just did it to start the second half because Nico was really playing great.
And then with James, you played him the last 36 minutes of this game. What do you think that lineup was able to do for him specifically? Because he did get going that second quarter.
Yeah, I thought it was great. I thought we did a good job of just, in transition, Zoo diving to the basket, letting James go one-on-one and create to keep him out of the blitz. I thought he did a good job attacking one-on-one. Our spacing was really good tonight, and he was able to get to the paint, get to the basket, And so, just talking about just opening it up for him and allowing him to play, one-on-one and get to his spots.
Ty, your point guard is in his 16th season. You've all seen the load that he's had to carry. Like, how impressed are you that he's able to play that many minutes? I think it's his third time in this series. I think he played 40 minutes 5 times in the regular season. Like, how impressed are you that he's able to not just be on the floor, but to be in this kind of position to lead your team?
Yeah, very impressed. Like I said, he wants to play every night. He's in great shape, trained for these moments. He wants to play, and so I knew, with the lineup that I wanted to get out there in the second quarter, he would get a quick breather. Kawhi came back in for him, and then we brought James back to start the second quarter to really give us some offensive firepower, and it worked, and so he got worn down, got a little tired, took a couple timeouts to try to, to save him. But like I said, he wanted to play, he wanted to compete, and like I said, he brought us home tonight.
Ty, you've been in Game 7s before. What are those games like? What does it take, and what do you expect you guys need to do to win a Game 7?
Come out with a defensive mindset and then in attack mode on both sides. Like, we know each other's plays, we know what we're trying to do, we know how we're trying to exploit mismatches, and we just got to go for it. Lay everything out on the line, and these are what you live for. Growing up as a kid, being in the playoffs, Game 7s, and so we got to come, ready to go, especially with a defensive mindset, but offensively being aggressive, attacking the paint, attacking the basket, and go from there.
You talk to them again about Game 7? Or you just talk about just try to win another game?
Just talk about things we got to get better at. our spacing a couple times, how they're trying to play James. Our pace, just like keeping that pace of just trying to play in transition, play before they get their defense set. And I thought we did a better job of that tonight, but we can go to another level.
Ty, back to your temperature checks. What was the temperature check like with James as he's trying to figure out how to manage the ups and downs of this series?
Yeah, it was great. We had great conversations, just how to open them up, open the floor up, and just talking through some stuff and bouncing ideas off each other, and it was good. And so being one of the best ISO guys we've seen, like probably in NBA history. We just talked about giving him more space, giving him more ISOs and one-on-ones. We know they're blitzing him, every time with the 5-man. So just, try to go guard, pick and rolls, and try to attack from there. And he did a great job, especially starting the game.
Ty, you didn't happen to leave any money at the Ball Arena, did you?
No, I didn't.
When you look at Nico's impact, though, I know we've talked about just his high IQ, but just the ability to get some of those, a weak side block after it looked like Nikola had him beat. Just plays like those, like how does his just ability to do those kind of things just allow you to do so many different things because he's able to do those?
I mean, just look what he did defensively. Second half he guarded Jamal Murray, guarded Jokic in the first half when we went small. He can guard 1 through 5, and just the intensity he brings defensively every night. And then, like you said, being able to block some shots around the rim, tip outs on the glass, and then be able to make a shot. But just understanding how to play the game, understanding spacing, and like I said, he's huge for us.
Coach, going back to Zoo, you talking about he was a monster on defense tonight. I think that his discipline on Jokic is a big part of that. Him not fouling, him closing out, and showing his hands essentially. But can you talk about what that does for the other 4 guys on the court to allow Zoo to be solid, not foul, but be disciplined when he's going against Jokic?
I mean, it's huge, and nobody can guard him one-on-one, but if we have Zoo on him, we want him to bang and try to wear him down as much as possible. But I thought he did a really good job just, around the basket, guarding him one-on-one, staying big, jumping after Joker jumps so you won't get fouls, and was very disciplined tonight. And I thought even, when Joker was on the perimeter, just being closer, like not giving up threes, being closer. And this whole series for us has been about being closer to our guys. And so I thought tonight we took a step in the right direction.
Thank you.
Yeah.